You know shit about boxing.
This is Danny Flexen welcoming you to the latest edition, a very special edition of the You Don't Know Shit About Boxing podcast, brought to you by SecondsOut. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Georgia Banks.
Hello, how are we?
We are, well, I don't know how you are, but yeah, I'm pretty good.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm gutted. But yeah, we were at the Fury Whyte, or we weren't, I was at the Fury Whyte workout earlier today, and that's got me kind of buzzing, also kind of knackered. But never too tired to do this and to catch up with you, Georgia.
Obviously, best part of your day.
Easily. But yeah, the workouts were incredibly busy. This is, people I'm sure have worked out by now, this is a special edition around the Fury Whyte fight, biggest fight in the UK so far this year, probably this year completely, because there's rumours obviously Joshua Usyk rematch won't be in the UK. But just a huge event. People were sceptical about how well it would sell, particularly with Dillian Whyte up until recently not participating in the pre-fight media activities. But judging by the workouts, it's going to do just fine because there were 200 apparently accredited media, never mind the fans that packed the background and upstairs in the balcony as well. It was like York Hall, only with much more expensive food.
Box Park, did you say?
Yeah, Box Park, Wembley.
What are you looking at, like £7 a pint?
I didn't buy a pint, funnily enough, while I was on the job. But yeah, I think jerk chicken set me back £9 last time I was there. So yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I'll stick to the north.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But no, it was a great event, packed out, loads of people there for interviews. Even Frank Warren, who braved a stinking cold, had his black COVID mask on. Although
I saw, yeah.
Yeah, I worried we wouldn't pick up his audio very well because obviously he had the mask on, there was music going on, which Sugar Hill Stewart, Tyson Fury's trainer, seemed to very much approve of. It's kind of EDM from early 2000s, but he seemed to be really yeah.
Did you get any footage of it?
He was dancing, during the workout while they were warming up, so that was pretty cool. The thing that impressed me most, and people have to kind of dig through the video to watch this, but it's when Big John Fury was taking Tommy on the pads. And there was a bit where I think he put his pad out and Tommy missed the shot and the pad flew off. And somehow John Fury managed to catch it in midair and slip it back onto his fingers in one seamless motion. One of the most
Obviously happens a lot then.
Such a big man I've ever seen. So that was
you had a good
the
time
second.
then?
Yeah, it was good, yeah.
Good.
Can you tell?
Yeah, you've been beaming.
Still coming down from it, yeah. But it was great. And I think, people were worried about Dillian Whyte's kind of lack of participation, but he wasn't there today. I believe he's flying in either tonight or in the morning for the press conference. But it didn't seem to have much of a problem. What's that?
He flew in today.
Oh, did he? Hot off the press. You've been watching his Insta?
No, I was obviously watching it on at work on Sky. So they were, Eleanor Roper was in his hotel room, I believe, doing an interview. So yeah, he is in the UK. He's here. He's not going to turn up.
Was that for the BBC?
Sky.
Oh, so Eleanor Roper works for Sky now. I'm so out of the loop.
Yeah. I think she's here most of the time, but still does a bit of bits for BBC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Whyte's in the country.
Yeah.
What have you kind of made of him not participating so far and now suddenly deciding to participate in quite a big way actually in the last few days?
It's very Dillian Whyte, I'd say. I haven't really thought too much into it. Obviously he lives in Portugal, very busy. He's got like 1 million dogs to look after. And
there's a lot of dogs. Who's Cruella de Vil?
It's the bigger version.
Yeah.
And I guess from his point of view, he hasn't been treated the way he would want to be treated. So he's doesn't really want to play ball. And I understand that. I know he said, it's not the Tyson Fury show, it's the Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte show. It's not just one person selling the tickets, it's both of them. And I feel like he's not been respected in that aspect, which is probably why he's been a little bit more stubborn, maybe, to be like, nah, do you know what? I don't want to do press conferences. I'll stay here, stay training. It interrupts my day, my week. And it's a lot of traveling. So I get it, but it's very Dillian.
Yeah. we spoke to I keep saying we like I'm the Queen or something, but yeah, I spoke to one spoke to Francis Warren earlier, Sir Francis of Warren. It's the water. I thought we were going to get away with that this week.
Never.
This is Georgia's secret water.
Secret water. Oh.
We never see it on screen, do we? But today it's made its debut on the podcast. What is it? 4 litres? Yeah. It holds 4 litre volume in that massive water bottle that Georgia lugs in her car. It is my
pride and joy.
To the podcast every 2 weeks. But yeah, as I was saying before, the water made its cameo.
Sorry.
That's all right. It's not you, it's the water. Francis Warren I spoke to earlier, and he had quite a lot to say about Dillian Whyte's lack of participation and what impact that might have had.
No, listen, it's great to have him involved, and listen, it just adds to it, doesn't it? It's always a story in boxing. You know, the biggest shows and the biggest fights in history have always got a good backstory, and Dillian and the press conference, etc., just adds to the grandeur of this event, and adds to what is going to be a fantastic show. I know it's been a very, very tough slog behind the scenes, and just delighted that the guys that have got it sorted have got it sorted. I know my dad and my brother have been working tirelessly with Dillian's guys to get it done, and just glad to say that Dillian will be here fight week. So it's again, it adds to it, and it wouldn't be the same without him.
What was the key factor in your view to finally getting Whyte to participate? What changed?
Well, I think obviously people sat down and started talking properly, and like I said, that's very much a behind the scenes conversations between involving my father and my brother and Dillian's team. So I'm sure you'll get a better outline of it from then, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but it was I know it's been it's been an effort, and it's but one that's definitely worth it, and glad that it's going to pay off this week.
So welcome back. Interesting to hear what Francis Warren had to say there. One other thing that was quite notable about the press conference, and I think it's very strange. So the whole Daniel Kinahan thing, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, but it was for so long people didn't want to talk about him on either side of the argument. And now it seems that's all anyone wants to talk about. And I think people are maybe getting bored of it. We were at a press conference today, and so we were waiting for the huddle with Tyson Fury. I'd already spoken to Frank Warren and Maurizio Suleiman, WBC president, about Daniel Kinahan in brief, because they're kind of connected to it. Warren's made some comments about Top Rank's relationship with him, and Maurizio Suleiman obviously put out a statement about his accidental meeting with Kinahan, apparently. So there was that. And then we were waiting for the huddle, and I was next to Andy Purewell from Boxing Social, who's a lovely guy, really good at his job as well. And he said, "Are you going to ask him about Kinahan?" And I said, "No." "Are you?" And he said, "I don't know." And it was this kind of little thing. And eventually Andy did ask the question. And the reason I didn't was because I already asked other people about it. And I wasn't sure if I was being a bit too Kinahan heavy in my coverage. And eventually Andy, to his credit, asked the first question, but after that got completely sidelined by a guy from PA, Press Association, who kind of took the ball and ran with it, much to the chagrin, it seemed, of some of the top-ranked people around, who didn't cut him off, and even came up to him afterwards and said, never let it be said that we don't let you ask your questions. They were happy, but they weren't entirely pleased that the focus was once again put on that. Obviously, more from the outside in your case, because you're not having to pose these questions to the people, but what have you made, not of the Kinahan situation, but its impact on the fight and the way everyone seems to be trying to link him with Tyson Fury because the big event is happening?
I feel like at the minute, especially on Twitter, there's select people trying to connect absolutely everybody in boxing to Daniel Kinahan and that situation. Some people genuinely might not be aware of what's gone on or allegedly gone on, and other people very much will be. As to it impacting a fight, I don't think it's really had too much impact, because people, regardless, are going to watch. I didn't know about any of this situation until about a year ago, and obviously people were a lot more clued up before that. So it's easy, especially if you're kind of like a casual fan, for it to just slip under the carpet.
Yeah, and I suppose also if you're a casual fan, you're thinking, why are they banging on about this? So we just want to hear about the fight. So it's difficult to get that balance because you do get critics on social media. Me, not so much, obviously, because I've been the one talking about it more than anyone, I suppose. But I've seen other people criticise as well. You know, why aren't you talking about it? Why aren't you asking? And we know there's some channels out there that can't really ask about it without going into details because of, you know, historic links and stuff like that. But the ones that can don't always, because are they worried about accreditation? Maybe, I don't know. Are they worried more, you know, about the any threat that might be out there? Who knows? But I think you've got to cater to your audience as much as possible, as well as doing the right thing and having integrity. If the audience is starting to get bored of it, then I guess until there's more developments in that particular story, we move on. And also, I'm reluctant to tarnish the biggest fight in the UK with that. You know, I want it to be seen in its own merits. I mean, doing 94,000 tickets at Wembley is a pretty big deal.
And I guess nobody's saying anything new either. It's all kind of very much repeated stuff that's been repeated through the years, or I don't know anything, or no comment. So there's nothing new that's come into it. It's just the same questions, it's the same answers. So yeah,
Fury deflected as best as he could, and then eventually basically told the guy from PA to mind his own business. Which was met with quite a meek good luck, Tyson, in the fight. Yeah, I did feel for it, but then he asked about 3 or 4 questions in a row about it. So anyone who asks more than 3 questions in a huddle is immediately a target for scorn, regardless of what the questions are about.
Everybody does.
Yeah, giving them daggers, exactly. But for the people who are interested in that particular topic, here are some snippets from the interviews earlier today with Frank Warren, Maurizio Suleiman, and the exchange between Tyson Fury and the assembled media.
No, I've said what I've had to say. You know, the fact is I was unaware of that, and it only came to light recently, and that's their business. It's not my business.
And presumably you'd want nothing to do with this particular person or his involvement in boxing.
He has nothing to do with his show. Never has done. No one leaned on me. He never leaned on me. He never tried to muscle himself into this promotion. That did not happen. That just did not happen.
Well, I just felt it was necessary to clarify that neither the WBC nor me or anyone from the WBC has had or has any dealings with Daniel Kinahan. I met him in Dubai as a boxing person. I met with him and I met with 100 people. So every trip I have many meetings and many plans, many ideas. And I just wanted to clarify that absolutely we represent the world of boxing and we follow and respect the law of every single country.
What other people do in their lives, I've got my own troubles and my own problems to work on myself with a wife and 6 kids, so I keep my business to myself. Sorry? The man's been a boxing fan. Not much more I can say. There's not much more of a relationship. There is none. Sorry? That's none of your business and none of anybody else's business, I don't think, is it? You know, it's my business is my business, your business is yours, and that's it.
Welcome back. So perhaps that will satisfy a certain demographic out there, and now we can move on to talking about the fight itself. Dillian Whyte can't win, can he, Georgia? How's he going to win this fight? It's hard, isn't it?
It's really hard because it's heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. I would love to see Dillian's hand raised at the end. I really would love to see that. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit and cry about it if it hasn't. I'm going to be equally as happy if Fury wins. For Dillian to win, I think he has to go past 6. He has to get past the 6th round. And I think if he can put him down, he needs to finish it off straight away. So like Wilder, for example, couldn't keep pushing. He didn't know how to finish the job off. Dillian knows how to do that. And I want to see that from him. I want to see him push. I want to see him keep Tyson Fury down because nobody's done it. He's been put down, but he's not been kept down. So that's ideally what I want to see.
I mean, at the workout today, he did the whole pad session shadow boxing all as a southpaw, which, you know, we saw him box completely southpaw against Martin Rogan many moons ago. He portions of the second Chisora fight he fought from the left-handed stance as well. I don't know if he's going to do that against Whyte. Maybe it's just a bit of kidology, you know, keep Whyte guessing. But what I did notice was that in the pad work, he seemed to be planning, I guess, to box on the front foot, but as a counter puncher. So there seemed to be a lot of kind of feints, a lot of head movement, a lot of trying to encourage Whyte to throw first and then counter with his, you know, fast hands and better movement. The thing that worries me most about Whyte's chances in the fight is that he doesn't have particularly fast feet. And although Fury complained that the workout ring was too small for him today, I don't think the ring at Wembley Stadium is gonna be too small for him.
But I think Tyson Fury can make anything look tiny. He's huge.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I said so on earlier, that picture that you said on Twitter where I was in the middle of the huddle, I said I don't feel tall anymore. Like, I am over 6 foot, but compared to Tyson Fury, only just. But compared to Tyson Fury, I am like a Lilliputian. You know what I mean? I'm tiny.
Yeah, he's a very big man.
But that's the thing. So he can land. I mean, Whyte has got deceptively long arms, as a lot of people have said in the build-up to this. But, you know, they're not going to be as long as Fury. So he's got a range advantage. He's faster feet. He probably punches as hard. You know, David Adelaide was saying today that because he's been in camp with Fury sparring alongside, you know, Joseph Parker, Martin Bacoli and so on. And he said the biggest misconception about Fury from watching on TV to actually being in with him is that he hits a lot harder than you think. And, you know, if he hits hard enough to keep Whyte from kind of continuously moving in, and Whyte hasn't really got the feet to move in continuously without getting hit anyway, it just seems like a real uphill battle.
So George Fox, I had a conversation with him, and he's been in camp with both Tyson Fury and Dillian, and he's kind of said his loyalties lie with Tyson Fury. However, single shot, Dillian hits harder.
Interesting.
That, in his experience. But yeah, it's going to be a very good night either way. I'm very excited.
It's going to be a very good night either way. No fence sitting there. And are you happy to stump up to pay for the pay-per-view on BT Sport Box Office, considering your work loyalties?
I'm actually at work on Saturday night, so I'm a bit cheeky. I've got all my dad's logins to every sporting app.
He does know you're planning this, right?
Oh, yeah. He always texts me that, are you watching the boxing tonight? I'm like, yes, got it on correctly.
Apparently you can't get it through Sky this time, though. That was a big thing they said at the start when it was announced. That not through, like, Sky aren't doing it, but don't get excited, people. But apparently, even if you're not a BT Sports subscriber, you can pay the pay-per-view charge through your Sky box and get it that way.
I'm hoping if my dad watches it and he pays for it, I can just watch it from his account.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I would imagine so.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
When you watch this later.
Yeah. Do you want to send me his login as well?
Somebody asked at the weekend, actually. They were like, are you watching Design tonight? I was like, yes. Why is that? You got a spare password? Not for you. Thank you.
Now, when we come back, we're going to talk a bit about the undercard. It's had a lot of criticism. Some of it justified, some of it not, in my view, but we'll hear what Georgia thinks as well. But first, we're going to hear from the two fighters who clash in what I feel is the best of the supporting cast, Isaac Lowe and Nick Ball, who I spoke to earlier today.
Yeah, well, I had options. I didn't have to take Nick Ball. I could have got an 8-rounder, I could have got a 6-rounder, or I could have picked some nugget to pick. But I believe I'm an elite, well-level fighter. I think I'm good enough to compare at a world level. I think I showed that last time out. So Nick Ball, he's unbeaten, he's hungry, he's powerful. It gives you that bit in training to like, come on, I've got to train harder now. I've got to be focused for this time. I think, as I said, the fans are in for a winner Saturday night. I think we're going to both stand in the middle of the ring and go for it. They say he's a big puncher. If he's such a big puncher, he would knock more than 7 out of his 14 opponents. People forgetting a box, Ryan Doyle, very big puncher. I was a kid when I boxed Ryan Welsh, another big puncher. Obviously Lopez, Dennis Seeland. I've been in with a lot of big punchers, so it doesn't make nothing. We'll see what it's like. You know what they say? He's a bully. He likes to bully his way forward in a fight. But you know what happens when a bully gets bullied? They tend to run. So let's see what happens to the bully when the bully's getting shots back at him, and when he hits me and I'm like, you hit me, I'm hitting you. Let's see what he's made of then, and see what I'm made of. Listen, it's going to come down to the way who wants it the most. I think we're going to stand there in the first round and let's knock it out, and I'm ready to do it.
It's in front of 94,000. It's the belt gets you ranked 5th in the world, so it's above British level. So definitely better than British level, yeah, and a better opportunity in my eyes.
Now, you're an aggressive boxer fighter. He's more of a kind of slick back foot boxer. Are you expecting styles to mesh well?
Yeah, they will. I haven't really shown what I can do yet on the big stage, or just only little glimpses of me. But I feel like this is my time and my time to show what I'm really about. And this is the stage to do it on. So,
welcome back. So, as you can see from that, both Isaac Lowe and Nick Ball are incredibly confident, and it's a really well-matched fight. Some people have had problems with the undercard in general. I don't know why they expected better, to be honest. I just think you spend that amount of money, a world record-breaking purse bid to secure Fury Whyte. There's not going to be a lot of money left for the undercard. It seems logical to me, but what do you think?
It's Frank Warren. I never particularly think his cards are incredibly strong as they could be.
Georgia's going rogue. Carry on. This is what we're here for. Georgia after dark.
Frank Warren has a lot of very, very good prospects who I would imagine as a prospect to be on a card like this is incredible and good for them. So it's just Frank Warren, isn't it? It's just a Frank Warren card.
Oh,
I don't know what else to say.
Savage attack. Georgia launches savage attack on Hall of Fame promoter.
Never give this job girl a job at PT.
Yeah, no, I kind of see your point. I don't think they're all terrible, but I think Amanisi and Mix was pretty awful. I
don't think it's an awful card.
I think Telford was bad, actually. We're just coming off a really bad one, so it's going to be better than Telford. No disrespect to Nathan Heaney, who was kind of positioned as the main event, really, anyway. But yeah,
I just think it's not that they're awful fighters or it's an awful card. It's just feels like a lot of prospects.
I think initially they wanted to get Anthony Yard on.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some issues there with him not being ready and stuff. But also, and I think I've got to be careful because I think this might have been off the record rather than on a video, but I'm pretty sure someone from Frank Warren's team said, for the price of one Anthony Yard, you can make like 3 undercard fights. So I guess that played into it as well. There's budget.
He's a very entertaining fighter, though.
Yes, he is. But is he a big crossover name that's going to add loads of value to the card in terms of pay-per-view buys and tickets sold? Fury Whyte sells it itself, I think. Yeah. So, I don't know. If I was a promoter, I wouldn't be spending loads of money on the undercard. I've got to be honest. But I think they wanted Daniel Dubois on there as well, but he's got to wait for the whole Trevor Bryan stuff to shake out. Is it a great undercard? No. Will I watch it? Yeah, probably most of it. I like.
I will enjoy it.
Actually, I think Ball Lowe's a really good fight, a trade fight, but still a really good fight. I like Nick Ball. He's an animal, and I like Isaac Lowe, especially in his last fight. Proved what a warrior he is. I think that's a really good fight, but I'm not out here shilling for the undercard. If people are out there, I don't think there's people out there who are going to decide whether to buy the card or not based on how good the undercard is. I think you either really want to watch Fury Whyte or you don't want to watch any of it. So,
yeah. I kind of just, in recent months, has there been from any platform a really, really strong undercard, like a top tier undercard that you can think of?
Not from Warren and not from Boxer. I'd have to think about some of the matchroom shows. So I think there have been a few matchroom shows. Well, how long ago was Liam Smith, Anthony Fowler? That was a really good card. Yeah, I mean, I'm not kind of an Eddie shill, do you know what I mean? But that was a really good card. I remember genuinely really looking forward to watching that.
I guess the thing with this particular BT card is that I would have liked to have seen at least 1 or 2 slightly bigger names.
Yeah.
I think that's all I'd add.
I think that's fair. All right, well, moving on from that rather awkward moment where Georgia attacked a Senior citizen and Hall of Fame.
Oh, don't do that. I really like Frank Warren.
Georgia bullied Frank Warren. Poor Frank Warren. He's got a cold at the moment as well. What's next? Bob Arum? Wow.
Oh,
Seen a new side to you, Georgia Banks. But yeah, moving
never
on
caught me
from
after
that.
work, that's why.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick up the phone. Although it's out of screenshots, people aren't allowed to have a go at me for it. It happened like 2 months ago now, and I still haven't got over the criticism.
Oh, it's really scarred him.
I need to grow a thicker skin. I'm thick enough everywhere else. Not everywhere else. Oh, that came out wrong. Screenshots from Twitter of questions we got. There's only 4, I think, but we'll go through them. And this one's a bit tongue-in-cheek from Babs. And people who don't know Babs_SP on Twitter, he's the biggest, most committed Dillian Whyte hater on boxing Twitter. And he says, which one of Press Row will Dillian Whyte squish after he inevitably falls out of the ring trying to land one of his hooks?
I mean, Dillian Whyte's a big lad. If he did fall out of the ring, he'd probably have to go over the top of it.
Who would you like him to hit? Out of anyone you know in boxing press, who would you like him to fall on? When you took shots at Warren, you've already shot for the king.
Oh God!
No fear.
Oh, let me think. I don't know. Who's going from SecondsOut?
Yeah, Radio Raheem will be in Press Row. Do you want him to get squashed by Dillian Whyte with an errant hook?
It would do views. He's got a lot of fans.
Fair point. For me, I just think for the sheer hilarity of it, and I really like him, but I just think for the sheer comedy value, because I think he'd take quite a comedy tumble. It would be Gareth A. Davies. I think to see him, and I saw him today, and he's a really nice guy, but yeah, just to see him trying to take that flop and just theatrically sell it,
I mean, I don't think I'd want to be squished by Dillian Whyte.
No. Well, some women out there. Let's leave it there. Seb Parkinson, I think I might know George's answer to this already, but let's find out. You were stranded on a tropical island in the middle of the Pacific with just the clothes on your back, no power, no Wi-Fi. Had to fend for yourself, and you had to choose either Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn to be stranded with indefinitely. Who would you choose and why? Didn't really need all that preamble, to be honest. It's just like, who do you like more, Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn?
I actually think Frank Warren's quite funny.
Look at you backtracking there. I didn't mean it, Frank. Love you.
Do I have? Is it no technology or anything?
Apparently not. No power, no Wi-Fi.
Eddie Hearn, but I would want some sort of like videotape so that one day I could send it out in like a bottle and people could find all the funny things he says and make loads of money. There you go.
Right. If you survived, of course.
I feel like he'd be a good hunter.
Maybe. I don't know. He's had it handed to him a little bit, hasn't he? I think Warren would be a better hunter. But I'd be worried. They're both quite ruthless, and I'd be worried they'd start looking at me to kind of eat eventually, cannibalise, There's that concern. I think for me, I'd have to pick Warren. It's no secret I'll probably get on a bit better with him. But also, Hearn is, only a little bit older than me. He's much taller. He's generally thought to be quite good looking. I don't need that sort of, threat.
I don't need that negativity in my life.
I don't need to feel bad about myself while I'm already fucked on a desert island. Do you know what I mean? Things are bad enough. So yeah, I think it'd probably be Warren. He's quite funny. He's a survivor. That's the biggest thing, isn't it? He's a survivor. He survived new people coming into the sport. He survived being shot. He
got shot.
How do you not know this? You're going to get cake for this in the comments. But yeah, a long time ago. But
why?
No, he's never revealed who shot him, but he knows who and he knows why, and he's going to reveal it one day apparently. But Terry Marsh, who was former light welterweight world champion, retired undefeated. Warren used to promote him. He was acquitted of he was accused of shooting Warren in that incident, but it wasn't him. Apparently, he was acquitted. So we will find out one day. But that's a bombshell for you. It's amazing.
It really is.
It shows how young you are, I suppose, but how old I am, or both. But getting back to the point, we've got a desert island to sort out here.
Okay, yeah.
Frank Warren is the archetypal survivor in boxing. So if he couldn't get you out of that mess, or at least keep you alive until help came, you'd be screwed, wouldn't you? So, yeah, no disrespect to Eddie. I don't think Eddie would do very well on a desert island either. You know, no male grooming products, no TV cameras, no women to charm. Do you know what I mean?
Eddie, love, you can come on my desert island. It's all right.
There you go. There's enough desert islands to go around. Dean, at DeanKel08 from Twitter says, who wins out of Crawford versus Spence if this fight is made?
Ooh. I'm going to go for Spence.
Why?
Why not? I don't know.
You have not thought this through.
I have not thought this through. It's like all the Frank Warren stuff you threw at me. I was like,
Yeah, but you weren't backwards and coming forward, that's for sure. Oh, it's the Walters on screen now. 4 litres, ladies and gentlemen. 4 litres. If size impresses you, if capacity impresses you, in fact. I'm going for Spence, actually. I thought long and hard about it. I thought when I read the question. But I am going for Spence. I think Crawford is probably the more talented fighter. He's got more variety, more versatile. But I just think he's not a natural welterweight. He's been there for a long time now, and he's grown into it to an extent. But I just think Spence is a lot bigger. Physically, you would expect him to be stronger. He's got a great jab. He does all the fundamentals really well. He's a very solid fighter. Crawford's got more flair, and he can do the unexpected, and I think he's got more skill, or at least more kind of visible skill. But Spence does everything well. He hasn't got a massive weakness anywhere, in my view, and he's robust and he's solid. And I just think he could, similar to how, I'm trying to think of an example, but someone like, you know, Winky Wright beating Shane Mosley, or Bernard Hopkins beating several more eye-catching fighters over the years, he could just kind of old man him out of it a little bit, even though he's the young man. So, yeah.
Speaking of welterweights, who do you want to see Conor Benn fight next?
I want to see him fight. Who do I want to see him fight? Maybe Keith Thurman. I quite like that. Yeah, I mean, Kell Brook, there's always going to be the question marks about whether he's past it. David Avanesian, I'd kind of like to watch it, but I don't think it's a big crossover, fight.
I just don't think that fight will get made.
No, but I think Keith Thurman, former world champion, still near his prime, if not at it. Easily the best fighter Ben will have faced in his career. Big name from America. Would it happen over here? Don't know. Would Ben have to go to US, which might add an interesting element to it? But yeah, out of the names that have been talked about, that's who I'd pick.
Interesting.
All right, thanks. You should have submitted your question on Twitter.
Next time I will.
There's 3 questions here from Andy White. He's always greedy. He always does 3. Andy White says, if Dillian loses, does he call time on his career? That's the first one.
No.
No, I don't think so either. Sorry, Andy, but that's all you get.
Sorry.
Does the fallout between Frank and Bob affect Tyson's career moving forwards? They sound like 2 fellas down the pub, don't they? Frank and Bob.
Quite possibly. There's a lot of politics in boxing that goes on behind the scenes, and if that, that could have an adverse effect on Fury. But I was under the impression that after this fight, he was kind of done anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that still the plan?
Yeah, well, that's the next question from Andy. You've preempted it there. Does Tyson really retire and pass on becoming undisputed?
Yeah.
You think?
I think his legacy is so big now that I don't feel like he has to do anything more. And I think if he lost, that could possibly do more hindrance to his legacy. And there's, say, like for the Dillian Whyte fight as well, there's so much to gain, but there's a lot to lose for both fighters. And everybody's kind of got Tyson up on a pedestal right now. And I just think if it didn't go his way for Undisputed, money-wise, yeah, cool. But it depends what he wants out of it, doesn't it?
I can't see him retiring. I mean, he reiterated it today that that's what his plan is. He insisted he doesn't care about who wins out of Joshua and Usyk because he's going to retire and it won't mean anything. He's going to drink beer and ferocity. But I just can't see him leaving that amount of money on the table. Not when he's still in his prime. Not when he still seems like he could beat them all. For me, he's the best heavyweight in the world. I don't see him losing anytime soon. Why would you just walk away? What's he going to do? Go and live in the woods like John Fury and barbecue stuff? You know, I mean, he seems like someone who likes the attention, though. He seems like someone who enjoys being around people and being the focal point.
I think he does when it's payday and when it's time for a fight. But I think the rest of his time, he looks like he kind of enjoys to be with his family and just kind of be peaceful.
Well, we shall see. Now, before we say our goodbyes, we're going to have to do a prediction each, I think. So, Georgia, you can step up to the plate first. Who wins and how?
This really hurts me to say.
I can tell.
Really, really. I think Tyson Fury will win. And I think he'll win by knockout in the 7th.
Wow, that's very specific.
If he doesn't, which I'm hoping, well, I would like to see, obviously, Dillian's hand raised. It's not going to be down to points, is it? It's going to have to be a knockout. And I am just not fully convinced that Dillian can keep Tyson Fury down. So I'm predicting a Fury win. But I'd really like it to be a Dillian Whyte win. There you go.
I think that Tyson Fury busts him up, cuts him, beats him up to head and body. I think Whyte may have some success early on, but I think Fury will establish his jab. And then after that, it's going to be a painful night, I think, for Dillian Whyte. I could see him either getting stopped or the corner pulling him out somewhere probably around the 8th or the 9th. And, fair play to him. I think he can still gain in defeat. I think people will be kind of remarking on his bravery and his gameness and all that kind of thing. But
definitely.
I find it very hard to see a way in which, with the disadvantages he has against Fury, how he can win that fight. I think Joshua rematch or Wilder would have been much more amenable to Dillian Whyte's style. But these are the cards you dealt.
Yeah, but I don't think whether he does lose, I don't think this is going to be the last we'll see of him. I think he's got another couple of years left, thankfully.
Good. Really thank you all. Yeah, you've broken.
I really am.
You've got the water, it's all right.
Thank you.
We really thank you all for joining us. We'll be back probably next week. We said next week, didn't we? Yeah, probably next week with a normal edition with a guest of You Don't Know Shit About Boxing. But until then, please like, subscribe. We're available, of course, on YouTube, but also on all the major audio platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and Podbean, of course, as well. And that makes it all work. So, yeah, please do subscribe, and we'll be back very soon. And comment below. Let us know what you think.
But be nice.
Yo, Danny Flexen here. Think you know shit about boxing? There's only one way to find out. Listen to the full podcast via one of the links in the description or go to secondsoutboxing.podbean.com.
Do you know shit about boxing?